American Military University proudly presents Mission San Diego Military, produced by the San Diego Military Advisory Council and Cloudcast Media. San Diego is America's finest military city. From the Marines and Navy to the Coast Guard and Naval Special Warfare, San Diego is a proud military town. Mission San Diego Military will help you better understand how the San Diego military leads, innovates, and cares for community and country. Mission San Diego Military, co-hosted by the CEO of the San Diego Military Advisory Council, retired Rear Admiral David Boone, and Drew Schlossberg with Cloudcast Media, begins right now.
I'm Drew Schlossberg with Cloudcast Media and co-host of Mission San Diego Military, a podcast series generously sponsored by American Military University, a leader in educating our military and their families since 1993. Co-host is David Boone, President and CEO of the San Diego Military Advisory Council, better known as SDMAC. David is a retired Navy Rear Admiral, and the Mission San Diego Military podcast series is produced by Cloudcast Media. As always, David, why don't you do the honors and introduce our guest?
Well, first of all, good to be here again with you, Drew. So we're looking forward to this episode with Brian callsign Beef Drechsler. Brian is a retired Navy captain, a 1998 graduate from the U.S. Naval Academy, played football there, among other things, an economics major, but joined the SEAL community as a special warfare operator, and lived to tell the tale. But more importantly, for our conversation in our community, he's now the executive director of the SEAL Museum here in San Diego. And one of the things I hope our audience takes away from the dialogue we have today is what Beef is trying to do and is doing with the museum is a lot more than just a showcase of cool stuff. It's a culture. It's promoting the culture and values of giving back and supporting a higher purpose. And I hope that comes out clearly to our audience as we have this dialogue today. So with that, over to you, Beef. Tell us something about the museum.
Yeah, well, thank you, David, Drew. Hey, really honored to be here.
Good to see you, too.
Appreciate this opportunity. I think that was a great intro, for what we're trying to do. So we opened up our showcase October 4th. So to give the viewers a little bit more of a background, there's been a Navy SEAL Museum in Fort Pierce, Florida since 1985. And I get often asked why Fort Pierce, right? That was where all the SEAL predecessors trained for World War II. That's where Hell Week was invented. So it is a piece of hallowed ground for us. So about 8.5 years ago, they asked the question, why don't we have a museum in San Diego? When you look at it from a Naval Special Warfare standpoint, the SEAL headquarters is here. All the new SEAL and Special Warfare combat crewmen, our boat operators, they are produced here regardless of rank. Half the SEAL teams are here. So it is one of the centers of gravity for the community here. Then when you look at the military side, which, David, I'm about to state the obvious and tell you you're wearing a blue shirt, but it's the biggest military city in the country, right? And we're honored to be one little piece of that. And then 32 million people a year come here, visit. It's the number 2 tourist destination. So what an incredible opportunity. When like you do anything with any chosen endeavor, you identify, hey, first, what's the requirement? And we tell 80 years of rich, adaptive, innovative history that is still relevant and still ongoing. We need about 50,000 square feet. So they've looked for that. We approached that. We are in active negotiation now for a waterfront location. And in the process of looking for that, we got offered our current showcase that we opened up on Kettner Boulevard. Right. So that we're calling that our showcase. That is, we got offered that at an incredible lease rate, $1 a year.
Hard to beat that.
Hard to beat that, exactly. So we jumped on it. It's purpose built. So that's allowing us to generate interest. We are learning a tremendous amount, everything on permits for displays, technology, how to get our tickets to reconcile with MWR, et cetera, et cetera. We can start our public benefit programs and then scale those, which I'll obviously touch on. And then, hey, we have somewhere that we can fundraise out of for the big one. So it's what we talk about, and we'll keep it as part of a museum complex. But when you think about it, it's when you see a 2,000 home unit build that's going up, first thing that goes up is a sales center and the model home. So for us, we're very excited. Again, we are, we want to give back. Our main goal is inspire, impact, and what you'll see is it's not a recruiting center per se. I'll touch on there's a national call to service, but it's not a recruiting center. And what we are doing is telling our story, but through the traits of teamwork, commitment, discipline, responsibility, right? And knowing that we're not the sole proprietors of those, we'll weave in some of the unique attributes that we think of the community, the arduous training and the team ability, taking very diverse groups, creating a high performing team that gives you agility, both as an organization to pivot every 20 years to meet national security requirements, the agility on the battlefield, and that yields our successes, but grit, a bias for action, and also our failures. That we are a learning organization, and we think by telling it that way, hey, those traits can be applied to any chosen endeavor. Because again, hey, active duty, absolutely come and see us. The veterans, absolutely come and see us. But I want the Smiths vacationing from Des Moines, Iowa, to come
with their
in,
kids.
With their kids come
Yep.
in, and again,
Right.
I think we're doing a cross promotion right now with we want to partner, and they've been great teammates with the Midway, with the Maritime Museum, because again, it's not just proximity and location, but it's proximity and mission, right? And we all can kind of weave in, and it's just a great day for a family to spend. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead, David.
A good way to start for the audience, for those that haven't been there yet, and I had the privilege of attending the ribbon cutting and walk through, and it's really awesome. But perhaps you could do a quick walking tour as you come in the ground level and visualize for our audience what that's like.
No, thank you. Yeah, and again, thanks for your support and being there as well. We tried to approach it as what we're calling a blended format, right? So there's written word for like kind of and artifacts for the traditionalist or like history buffs that want to see and see things. We've got narrated media, interactive media. So there's taking advantage of technology for everybody. So when you come through the front door, you pass the ticketing booth, see our donor honor wall, people that helped us get here. But back to the traits, we hope we hit that right off the bat, because you have the SEAL ethos and the SWCC creed. That is, we put that on paper in 2005 to codify what this community represents, what is expected of those who enter our ranks. And then you have the national treasures that absolutely embody that with the 7 SEAL Medal of Honor recipients and the 5 predecessors to SWCC. And then across from that is our immersive theater. So it's a 3-screen, so main screen with 2 winglets. And you'll see there's a compass rose that's etched on the floor. So the SEAL grinder, that's where all the physical evolutions at BUDS take place. All the tenets on the grinder are there, are on the outer ring. Only easy day was yesterday, right? That's about discipline, right? Abandon self, embrace.
And tomorrow?
What's that?
And tomorrow?
Well, what you did.
Just another easy day.
Yeah, the only easy day was yesterday, and it's, what you did yesterday got you here today. You got to earn it again. So we have about 8 different interviewees telling segmented into discipline, responsibility, commitment. And my last 5 years of active duty, so I was the Commodore that oversaw all the training and BUDS and the production of New SEAL and SWCC. And before that, I was 3 years, I was the chief of staff at the headquarters for 3 different admirals. No outsiders were allowed into Hell Week, or the SWCC equivalent, which is the tour. And when I say outsider, I mean, unless you were instructor, or a student, you weren't allowed to go. And in February 25, they let us film it. So you'll see, you'll get an inside peek into the crucible and into training. And then we've got our memorial wall, which is interactive. So folks can scroll through. It's all the SEALs and predecessors killed in training, killed in action, and a little bit more than just a name and a picture, right? We have a little bit like a baseball card. You go upstairs, we have virtual reality, right? So experience what it's like to jump out of a plane. This chair shoots air, and it's a hostage rescue. It's really neat, right? And then you go into the main exhibit hall. We've got one of our mini subs suspended from the ceiling, but it walks you through the 80 years of history. And then we finish up with what's called the call to action wall, back to that national call to service, where it's, if you want to go to BUDS, you want to go to SWIC training, we're hiring, but so's the Navy, so's the Marine Corps, so's the Army. If that doesn't float your boat, be a teacher, be a mentor, volunteer at assisted living. Then you come downstairs and you can buy some museum swag, which we're using the same company. It's great. It's seriously, it's great stuff. Back to the teammates with the Midway, we're using the same company that the Midway uses. So
right, we're chatting with Brian Beef Drechsler. He's the executive director of the Navy SEAL Museum San Diego. I'm Drew Schlosser of Cloudcast Media and co-host of Mission San Diego Military podcast series, generously sponsored by American Military University, leader in educating our military and their families since 1993. Honored to have as co-host David Boone, president and CEO of the San Diego Military Advisory Council. I want to get back to the collaboration with this, which is obviously is in the DNA of SEALs and the military in general, especially working with that iconic USS Midway Museum, to say the least, on this. And, ever since its founding many moons ago, and then with its two leaders, now Rear Admiral Terry Craft. Talk about how that's been working together and how, the cooperation has been between both groups.
Oh, fantastic. I literally just had coffee with Christina Brophy from the Maritime Museum right before we came here. So
Yes.
The Midways, they're both phenomenal, right? The Midway has, again, from Terry on down, has partnered with us. I mean, everything from they handed us their docent program, and not only that, their lead docent sat through all our training and helped us out. So that's one just little example that we have. And like I mentioned, we're doing a cross promotion right now. So you buy a ticket to the SEAL Museum.
That's great.
Right. You get a reduced ticket at the Midway and the Maritime Museum. And we've got signage outside all three. Because again, it's proximity and mission, right? If a family wants to learn about their rich history and the tethers to the maritime domain and maritime commerce, you go to the Maritime Museum. If you wanted to learn about teamwork, service, discipline through the lens of the birthplace of naval aviation, you go to the Midway. Right? If you want teamwork, discipline, commitment, and a little bit of the unique attributes of the commandos, you come to us. So it's again.
Yeah. You know what I love about this, and David and I talk about it quite a bit on the interviews we've had on Mission San Diego Military. A lot of people talk about culture, okay? And then when you get to it, you don't have a culture. What are you talking about? You guys do have a culture. And it is embedded in what you folks do. It's always tied to trying to serve something greater than yourself in this aspect of it. And you said, yeah, you're close in proximity, but you're also closer in mission in this aspect of it. When people leave that, your Navy SEAL Museum after a tour, do you get a sense that they really get it? They understand how that culture works?
I think so, because again, like any museum, well, first off, museums, we don't present opinions. We present facts to allow a guest to formulate their own opinion. And, one of the facts that we try to come across again is that, for example, you said teamwork, right? Abandoned self, embrace team. It's the pecking order is team, teammate, self is last. Right. And we talk about the teamwork, the commitment when you have a bunch of high performing individuals that all have that mindset where I'm last. The mission, the team, they come before me. And you have the arduous training. And when you look at the community as well that we touch upon, right? When you look at Naval Special Warfare as a whole, it's about 10,000 people. right? There's only 20, give or take 2,700 active duty SEALs, about 750 of our SWIC, our boat operators. So you're looking at 65, 70% of the community is over 70 different ratings or jobs in the United States Navy. So we take all that, fuse it together, put it through very arduous training and specified training, and we developed an internal kind of word for it. We called it team ability, right? That we can tailor that for the task or the mission. And so you want to talk about a diverse group of skill sets and backgrounds, right? We've got divers, we've got intel specialists, you've got communication specialists, and you fuse that and harness it for a team that, again, I think back to your original quote, yes, I think, and then because they can take that and apply that to any given chosen endeavor.
Well, and I think if nothing else, particularly for young people that visit, whether it's the SEAL Museum, the Midway, or any other military organization, if we just light a spark, right, that, wow, what could that be like in my life, right? That's really what we want to do, is create the question of, could I do that? Or how would that be like for me? And if we achieve that, you've achieved a lot, right? Coming out the door.
Yep. And you see it when we, one of the things I love doing is either, our public benefit programs, but part of that is hosting field trips.
Mm-hmm.
So we were lucky. One of the first ones we did was a 4th grade class. I was just honored because the teacher could have one field trip a year and they chose us. So you're like, oh, hope this goes well. But it wound up being, we walked them around and we talked teamwork and we shared stories about commitment, right? And we ended up in our conference room, and teacher, they had the brown bag lunch and teachers asking questions, they're asking questions. And it was a really fruitful discussion, but it wasn't, hey, what's it like to jump out of a plane or do it? It was, hey, what's it like being on a team? Or teacher asked, why are rules important? These guys hate rules. And we had a lacrosse team from Utah come down, and we just the same thing, talked about teamwork, and they even put ASET on their uniform. Band and self-embrace team, which was it was really neat. So that is back to, again, we don't talk about lacrosse, but lot of carryover into, again, any chosen endeavor.
Well, and I think to the point where Dave was talking about, and it mentioned using this as a catalyst to whatever you want to get into, whether it's the military, you can be AI, pick a topic.
That's right.
In this aspect of it, God knows in this world we need more of that, and we need folks. I don't care what side of the aisle. That has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with rowing in the same direction.
That's right.
To try to accomplish what you guys know better than anybody, a mission in this. And I think when you get young people, as you talk about this 4th grade class, my daughter's a 4th grade teacher, so I might have to mention to her, hey, get yourself down and meet Beef, and she'd love that. His real name? I go, yeah, that's it. That's his call sign in this. I think it's so critical, in that area.
My first PCS, when I came back to stateside, we were so stressed out. Everything was just thrown at us, and I wish I could just go back and tell past me, like, hey, it's gonna be fine. Go with the flow.
Touch a little bit on the larger future museum that is coming down the line.
Yeah, so exciting. We hit a significant milestone on April 21st. We were approved at the open session of the Port of San Diego for our larger site, which is going to be in between Harbor Drive and Pacific. Right, so it's literally right across the street from where the cruise ship terminal.
Right.
So there's the Navy. There's Navy buildings on there now. That lease has expired, so it's pretty much going to be from Harbor to Pacific. It's going to be a new build, about 85,000, just over 85,000 square feet. So that's going to allow us a tremendous opportunity, both with increasing the exhibit space. We're planning on having a very significant large youth education center, right? We're going to have the 4th floor will be event space, which is, it's nice, but when you look at the active duty community, at least for my community, you know, when they closed the movie theater on the old NAB on the Bayside for groups, let alone the admiral to have a meeting with his folks,
All hands. Yeah.
it was really difficult. Okay, you can come to us now, and you know, and I think when, you know, one of the things that when we say we want to inspire and have an impact, if you look at the business plan for that big one, you know, right now we're planning on taking 25% of gross and giving it back to programs. So we'll give about 12 to 15% to the Navy and Naval Special Warfare, but 10% is going back to the city. Because again, we want to be one of our pillars that we are about is being an active partner in Southern California. So that's inspiring, educating the next generation, but also, hey, we're going to be occupying a key piece of real estate in this city. We want to be an active partner.
You know, one of the things I'm excited about between what Beef is doing and the Midway with Freedom Park, which will be the largest military park on the West Coast, adjacent to the ship. We didn't have a place like that. We still don't until these places get built out, where you can do military ceremonies in public space, right? And the analogy, when I was in D.C., they have the U.S. Navy Memorial, which is in a public space. It's right across from National Archives. And the first time I spoke as a speaker at an event there, and I saw the general public gather around, it changed my dialogue. I was speaking as much to the public as I was whatever the event was. Could be a retirement ceremony or whatever. We don't have that space yet. And I think it's going to be great to have public space where we can do those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just gives, well, it gives those that don't have exposure to it, our aspect, well, Navy veterans, our service was serving our country through the Navy and what that lens looks like. And yeah, we even right now when, you know, the headquarters has used our space, absolutely. Hey, it's your house. Come on in. It's just our way of giving back. I agree.
Yeah, you know, I think what you're talking about earlier, and something that the Midway has hung its head on, and I think David knows this, is a group I work with that has been working closer with the Midway since it opened in 2004. It's a Classroom of the Future Foundation, and we do Midway Scholars, but it's tied to education and Midway University and all that aspect of it. And of course, a no-brainer. That's what you guys planned with this youth and education,
That's right.
You know, a footprint as well. And as you mentioned earlier, you borrowed the docent, thoughts from the Midway and so forth. I imagine you work closely with them on what their education program looks like as well, and tied to what yours are.
Absolutely. And, the museum, we have 4 pillars. So first and foremost, world-class museum. When we say world-class, it's not just what we display, but it's also, hey, how we conduct ourselves.
Right.
Having a close relationship with the headquarters. We're 501c3, but I still want the community I represent to have a relationship, and the SEAL commander is, hey, guys, great work. 2, we want to support active duty, right? But augment and complement, right, existing 501c3s that are already out there. Like we are premier partners with the Navy SEAL Foundation. We both support active duty, but just 2 completely different ways. So it's not competitive. It's again complementary, right? Then support the families, other soft camps, veterans, right? Again, complementary to what other folks are doing, and then being an active partner in Southern California, right? And part of that is the education piece. A little bit, we, for example, as supporting the Midway, we were asked by the San Diego Police Department to participate in their Youth Leadership Week. So it's all like about 3,500 kids over 85 different schools. It's the cross guards, and you'd have loved it. I mean, you get these 8, 10-year-olds walking around with captain insignia on their hats, but Midway had a day. we had a day, and just different things, different approaches, but all talking about leadership, teamwork, right? How do I lead a high performing team? I mean, we had one, it was fantastic. 10-year-olds asking me about peer leadership. I was like, wow, that's incredible. It was a great discussion. And the neat thing too, I'll tell you, when we started off, it was more kids than police officers. And by the time we finished, the ratio was about the same. They were coming in, but we stayed after, talked. So it's very much whatever we can do. I think, one of the neat things for me, coming into running a museum, which if you asked me 10 years ago, I'd have told you you're nuts. There's no way I'm going to run a museum. But there is no real competition. It truly is a rising tide raises all boats. And that's why, so everybody's out to support one another. Cause again, I was just talking with Christina today, chances are somebody goes in the Maritime Museum, they're probably going to come our way and vice versa. Right. And we're seeing that right now with the Midway. And certainly I want to keep that going when we get the big one in. Cause again, we're just going to scale everything that we're doing, scale this mutual complementary support to one another.
So with the new development, you've got to raise funds, right, for that endeavor, just a little bit. Is there a projected timeline for that development? What does that picture look like?
So I've learned more about commercial real estate in the last year, and I haven't even been one of the leads on our team to do it. So a few things I'll try to give you the real quick down and dirty, right? Because above the Port Commission, we got to go in the environmentals. There's California Coastal Commission, but in a nutshell, I'd say in about 18-ish months, we'll start applying real money to like design, specific design inside, because it takes time for a museum. How we break in the space down, what specifically is on this wall, the research, et cetera. But right now the plan is 29 breaking ground and having it built and up and open to the public.
That's pretty quick.
By 31. Yeah. So
I mean, I'm in that business, so
Yeah. We're chatting again with Brian Beef Drechsler. He's the executive director at the Navy SEAL Museum San Diego. I'm Drew Schlossberg of Cloudcast Media, and co-host of Mission San Diego Military with retired David Boone. He is the president and CEO of the SDMAC group, San Diego Military Advisory Council. Talk a little bit about, you mentioned this earlier, about the public benefit programs. And I know you're geeked up about that.
I love it.
I know you do.
I absolutely love it. It's I'm sure, David, when you were active duty, right, mentoring a young junior officer or a young junior enlisted, and just they'd walk away and then they'd have success, and you're just like that. You see them later, 5 or 10 years. Hey, thanks for taking the time to do that. I think it's vital for any leader to do that. So for us, we have think of at a wide range of youth at promise or at risk youth, right? Because what we try to take a bunch of things at the museum and museum folks associated with the museum that we're doing, and now we're housing it under the museum. And we had one of our members worked with San Diego Sheriff to help start a program called Respect. So they break that kind of the repeat offender, if you will, and actually, hey, let's have a curriculum and after school and mentor these young men and women. Hey, this is how we break that cycle. This is some opportunities for you. So we talked to them about teamwork, the need for education. I talked about the San Diego Police Department, their youth leadership, working with sports teams, bringing them by. Again, I'm not telling them, hey, how to shoot a marksmanship or jump out of a plane. It's, hey, both taking my time as in sports, but as an officer in the Navy, and then with corporate and like adult leadership. I had the privilege of speaking at the San Diego Police Department. They have a command cohort. So when a police officer does about 10, 12 years, I mean, David's just like our command school, right? So they now, hey, you're a lieutenant, right? Literally go fight crime. You're going to run instead of 8 people, you're running a department of 100. Yeah. So I just again, same thing. Hey, here's how, in my experience, leading high performing teams and dealing with that. So it's, and we will scale it. Right now, we're still pretty lean and mean. It's me plus 6. I've got some very, very capable docents, but we'll eventually build that out. We've been approached by the Gary Sinise Foundation. They want to start doing more work with local high schools in San Diego. They looked at our approach and what we're doing, and absolutely. I mean, you want to talk about complementary mission sets where we could really help one another? Absolutely. So they're going to be visiting us in July. We're being very deliberate, because what I never, ever want to do is get into a predicament where I'm over promising and under delivering. And, I partnered with David, I partnered with Drew. And you're like, you showed up, said 4 words and you left. And you just want to, no, I don't want to do that. I'd rather be, quality over quantity, and then I can scale that out.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's going to be so cool when this thing, you're already there, of course, in this area. And we love working with the groups you mentioned. And Christina's been on the program talking about this stuff. Relatively new CEO at the Maritime Museum, and David knows we're pretty close with Neil O'Connell up in Mount Soledad as well. But when all these things collectively are working with the schools, okay, and providing all this leadership, and providing, here's ways of doing things that doesn't make a difference what field you are in. Okay, it's the ethos that you have is just huge. Right. In this area. How much of this, as you can tell, I'm laser beam around the education side of this aspect that you can do virtually. I know the Midway has put together a whole virtual, classroom, so to speak. Are you looking at doing somewhat the same?
We will. Again, I've been open 6 months. I got 6 people, so I'm knocking down the proverbial plates or the alligators closest to the boat. Right. But to answer your question, yes, but we're going to be very deliberate with it. And I think back to your point, and the teamwork with the Midway and the Maritime Museum, right? Especially in the military, right? The Navy's got a culture that's different than the Army, but when you look at the Navy, right? Divers, you got your culture, SEALs, right? Pilots. So
we call them tribes.
That's right. There you go.
We have tribes,
right? But with that, there's unique attributes within each one of those tribes that I think back to, hey, mom wants to take her kids. You're going to get a lot of good, different perspective, but it all under that umbrella of teamwork, service, but. Yeah. You're going to get a diverse viewpoint of it, and it complements one another.
Right. How have you felt the PR has been when getting out the word about the U.S. The Navy SEAL Museum San Diego? You feel good about it? There's always going to be more, correct, in this aspect of it?
No. No. Let me. We went in deliberately. Again, it's. From a San Diego perspective, we're a startup in pretty much every facet. So we outsourced PR leading up to the grand opening. So we saw a spike, knowing full well that when you pull the plug on that, you're going to lose momentum. But we've got a director of marketing on board now he's been on board about a month-ish, and he's building out a very deliberate plan. So, I mean, it will come, right? It's, for right now where the showcase is, it's a little bit different. Family walks by the Midway, they see Terry's ship, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's a museum, let's go. Or the Maritime Museum, they see the Star of India. And, for us, even though you got a lot of really cool graphics on the wall, it's, right, they might walk by and go, what is that? Right. Even though it says Navy SEAL Museum on it. So we're working through it, but I like to say we're getting fantastic feedback. That's active duty veteran, tourists, right? I just got to get the word out. So that's a good problem to have, Vice. Hey, word's out.
Yeah.
You stink.
Are you open every day?
There's another museum in our region that I don't think gets enough visibility, and that's MCRD's Marine Corps Museum.
Correct.
Now, the challenge is it's behind the fence line.
Getting them on base.
But you can get on base.
You can.
And that museum, in terms of displays and history, is phenomenal. So for the audience, if you haven't been, get over there. It's really great. Do you all have a relationship with them at all?
We do. I met
Barb.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I got through, Jim Grunny.
Yeah.
Right out the Jim Grunny.
You just say his name is Jim, and everyone knows who it is.
Yeah. Well, no, I told him what we were doing. He's like, "Hey, how can I help?" I'm like, "Can you give me a QR code to your recruiting website?" And if you don't know it, there's been a very long storied inter-service rivalry between Marines and SEALs. So I get this look like I was going to put a virus on the recruiting, and I explained what we were doing. Nope. Hey, this is about service and call to action. You come down to the stairway landing underneath, and I want to have QR codes for Navy, Marine Corps, Father Joe's Kitchen. Here's what we're trying to do. And they thought it was so neat that they invited me to a graduation, walked around the museum. We've hosted the museum team. Cause we talked about that. She's like, we almost had, cause typically from a military perspective, the museum is usually located right next door to the schoolhouse. And the commander of that schoolhouse oversees both. Real estate, as David knows, in Coronado, there's not a lot of it. So we had to go off federal property. So our challenges are literally completely reciprocal. Like, I mean, it's on federal property. She could put a howitzer there. Her challenge, whereas I can't really do that in downtown, but people can come see me when they know about it. For her, they can get on base. They just don't know that they can. So it's two different challenges. Yeah. But it's a great museum. Go see it. Of course, shocker, the Marine Corps, not surprisingly, they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I want to add to that too, David. As you may or may not know, we've done special remotes out there with Jim twice. And the first time I saw the museum, you're thinking what a nice little thing, maybe 2 or 3 rooms. Not quite. Yeah, this thing is massive.
On and on.
It's massive, and what they've done is part of our job is to continue to promote the museum, because you can get on base. You can do that. You just work with Jim or whomever the case may be, and they want as many people as they can get through that area. So really, kudos to that and the partnership. And Beef knows this. He's been on the show talking about the museums in general. We are so blessed in this county of having unbelievable, whether it's focused on the military, it's focused on arts and science. San Diego is a museum haven.
Absolutely.
And talk about your collaboration with all those zillions of others of museums throughout our county.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the first things we did even before we opened was reached out to the San Diego Museum Council. Fantastic organization. And for the listeners that don't know what they do or what they're about, they do promotions, but they get the word out about all the great museums that are out there, downtown, Balboa, I mean, all over San Diego. And then they also advocate for us if there's legislation, city ordinance that we need. But they run promotions. October, next one that's going to be coming up is October. Kids are free for that month for all participating museums.
Museum month.
Yep. We will do that again. I got some funny looks from some of our leadership where, hey, the first month we were open, kids are going to be free, but we did it.
Right.
They run a co-sponsor where if you have a membership for one museum, it's valid that month for all of them. So they do a lot of great stuff. I go on their website, Google them, San Diego Museum Council. They always are running promos. And you'll be amazed some of the museums that are out there that you don't even know.
There's no question about that. And, the learning, you can literally go, and I'm unabashed when I say these things, David's heard me say it before, you can take a K-12 curriculum just by going to the museums.
Yep.
Okay, and that'd be it. You wouldn't have to open up one textbook. Physics, science, math, language arts, you name it, can just be going through our museums, and yours is no exception. In that area. What can our listeners do, Beef, to support what you're doing?
Well, I think number one, help us get the word out. Tell a friend. Look us up online.
Visit.
Yep, visit. Right, Navy SEAL Museum, SD.org. If you're inclined to give more, you want to give some time. Always looking for docents and volunteers. right? Again, you do not have to have been a former Navy SEAL, a former SWIC, a former Navy, or former military, right? We have individuals that have never been on a base. They just believe in our mission. I have yet to turn down any volunteer. And certainly if you're so inclined and willing, your treasure, if you want to donate, like we're getting ready to partake in a significant capital campaign. But hey, at a minimum, I'm happy with right now. We're on 1001 Kettner Boulevard, right across from the Santa Fe train station. Open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, but Tuesdays, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Come see us.
Yeah, and as David knows, there is no such thing as too small of a donation. We're not going to turn down Bill Gates' money, obviously, but you just want to get people engaged.
That's
and
right.
Once they're engaged, once they come and visit, once they see what's going on,
Yep.
and yeah, absolutely. And any final comments, David?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, I'm really excited about what Beef's doing with the museum. It's really just getting going. Opening the doors is one thing, and that's a significant milestone, right? Opening the doors,
Absolutely.
operating a museum, but all the community engagement that he's visualizing and doing, that's where we're going to see I'll say a return on investment for the community. I'm real excited about that. And then for our audience, if you know a young person that's, kind of sort of thinking, what would it be like to be a SEAL? Go see Beef or come see me and I'll get you to the right place. So for anybody, any young person that is thinking about a career opportunity in the military, don't be shy. Come see me. I'll get you to the right place. We'll talk to experts and you'll see it firsthand. You'll hear it firsthand, what it's like to be in their shoes.
Absolutely. Beef, any final comments?
I think good point, Dave. I mean, biggest military city in the country. You
Exactly.
got Marine Air, Marine Ground, subs, ships,
anything you want.
divers, SEALs, pilots, aviation, and I think we are honored to be one very small part of that. And I think what we are honestly trying to do as well is I always hate to say the community is a brand, but in this vernacular, it's a pretty well-known nationally, if not globally, brand.
It is.
We're trying to take that, tell a approved narrative from the headquarters and what we're trying to do, but also take it and harness it and have an impact.
Yeah. What's the website?
Navy SEAL Museum SD.org.
Great. Brian, it's always good seeing you, man. The content you provide is always top shelf.
Thank you so much.
In this aspect of Brian Beef Drechsler, Executive Director at Navy SEAL Museum, San Diego. As always, David, enjoy co-hosting with you. I'm Drew Schlossberg of Cloudcast Media, and you've been listening to another edition of Mission San Diego Military, a podcast series generously sponsored by American Military University, a leader in educating our military and their families since 1993. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Mission San Diego Military, presented by American Military University, an educational leader for active duty military, veterans, and their families. Mission San Diego Military is produced by the San Diego Military Advisory Council in partnership with Cloudcast Media, the national leader in local podcasting. We're sure you learned quite a bit about why San Diego is America's finest military city. Please like, subscribe, and share the show.
Cloudcast Media.